In this video, we're going to look at the basics of the quadruped position and the belly release in quadruped position. So, when you want to go into your hands and knees, what you want to do is to have your knees under the hips, so hip width apart, and your hands at shoulder width apart. Now, if you just sit like this, here's my hips and here's my shoulders and here's my arms, which are basically the continuation of my shoulder. And so if I go slightly forward, I'm going to notice that my arms and my shoulders are broader than my hips, which means that when you go in quadruped, the distance between your hands is going to be greater than the distance between your knees. So this is kind of your measure here. Hip bones, knees, shoulders, arms. Now from here, what we really want is to have an active core, an active spine, even if we want to relax something like the belly or the head. A lot of the positions, a lot of the exercises that we do on hands and knees can be quite challenging for the neck. So I recommend to start with, when you go onto your hands and knees, to actually release your neck, relax your neck, and let your head hang. So we also want to have legs that are vertical and arms that are vertical. So my knees are hip width apart, my arms are shoulder width apart, and you want to do that in front of a mirror to start with, to make sure that your legs and arms are vertical. And once you get a sense in your body, what does it feel like for your arms and legs to be vertical, you can just assume this position more naturally. Okay, so from here, what we want is to have a neutral spine. A neutral spine starts with the sacrum, and we have the same alignment markers. So we want the pelvic bones and the pubic bone to be, in this case, parallel to the floor, which also is the same as the sacrum being parallel to. So you want a sacrum that is flat. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go onto your hands and knees and completely let your pelvis drop down, and you're going to notice this kind of curve here. Okay, and if you can't relax that, think of taking your tailbone towards the ceiling. So once you have relaxed that, you want to bring the ribs up so that they are aligned with the hips without at the same time tucking the pelvis. So you want to avoid this from happening. You want instead to take your ribs, and with a slight abdominal contraction, as in a crunch, you want to bring your ribs closer to your pelvis at the front and further from your pelvis at the back, without compromising the lumbar curve here. Okay, and that's it. And it's kind of easier said than done. So I recommend that you set aside 10-15 minutes to just play with this. So align the legs, align the arms, let the pelvis float up, and then from here just play with taking the ribs up in relation to the floor. So we don't want to have that kind of thing. This is right for the pelvis, but it's not ideal for the ribs. The ribs are protruding here and the spine is sinking. So the spine is actually not self-supporting in this position. It's totally inactive. So we want to activate both our abdomen a little bit and then our spine, so the muscles along the spine, to keep us in neutral. And then from here, once you've set the ribs in the right position, you can start to let go of the belly. And this is not an easy thing to do, especially while keeping the spine in neutral, but that's why it's an exercise in and of itself, to learn to not hold additional tension, but to have just the right amount of contraction going on so that your spine is supported. So you're staying here, resting, making sure that this isn't happening. A lot of us have this tendency, so every now and then check yourself, pick your ribs up and let the belly hang. Obviously in this position, the sensation in the belly is a lot more intense, a lot more noticeable than when you just sit and let the belly relax. And also because gravity is helping you, you can actually feel and release a lot more tension, which is going to allow your diaphragm to drop and your breathing to become a bit fuller. So try this and let me know how we go.